Greetings and salutations, fine people. I'm Patti Alvarez. Welcome to The Good Soul, a show where we'll have supercharged chats with everyday humans from all walks of life and unpack what in their story will inspire us all. We'll extract the untapped wisdom, distill it, and serve it up to you in all the right ways that will engage, enlighten, and most of all, inspire growth within your soul. I think people are awesome. So join me on this journey through the hearts and minds of ordinary people to uncover the good soul within you. This is The Good Soul. Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Good Soul. We're on episode 29.5. This is part 2, the sequel to Man vs. Food vs. World. We're lucky enough to have the coolest, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Casey Webb. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for being here, Mr. Casey.
Thank you.
So this is like round 2, exactly. Literally in more ways than one. We started shooting our first round and we lost internet.
I mean, how many times in life do you get a second chance, you know? So it's, you want to take advantage of it. So, hey, I love it.
It's exactly what I'm saying. So we were talking about the onion, right? We were talking about the many layers. I was telling you. So my daughter has a fiance named Squeaky who came in really shy. And every time he reveals something that's even cooler than the last, we go, onion, so we start chanting onion. So before we started shooting.
Was that his given name? Squeaky?
Squeaky? No.
Was that
Ethan's his name.
Ethan.
But they remind me of like Beyonce and Jay-Z, Bonnie and Clyde. And she's like this little boho-y. She's going to be a naturopathic doctor. But they're always starting like these little businesses. And one of their businesses, she just graduated from the University of Alabama. One of their businesses was Squeaky E's car detailing service.
Very profitable.
I know they got, totally. They got like little business cards printed up. And once you get to know me, I never call you by your actual name. I don't know if you know any.
What's my name?
Casey Webb. Full word. both together. Casey Webb. It's got to be.
Word. Yeah. Not too many people. Some people do that. Not many, but it's like they say my full name, which is like hilarious. It's people that know me, you know. Or Case.
Well, did you see? What was it in Stars Born? When Bradley Cooper said, why does everybody call famous people by their full name? Like, why don't they just call them like, right?
Brad,
right?
I have a quick story about that. If we have time,
go ahead.
It was during the holidays. It was leading up to the holidays. And it was when Harry Connick Jr. had his show, which was a full piece band. No one else was really doing that or had ever done that to that point, like a daytime show with a full piece band that he basically championed for. And so I did this Hollywood spot where I highlighted a bunch of just noteworthy and holiday desserts, that we all love and like we look forward to during the holidays. And then we had this gingerbread house making contest. But you can look it up. It's hilarious. The whole time I called him by his first name. His whole name. I kept calling him Harry Connick Jr. Oh, I was like, that's great, Harry Connick Jr. Oh, thanks, Harry Connick Jr. Oh, you're the best, Harry Connick Jr.
Yeah, there's this whole segment. Yeah. Did he address it or did everybody just kind of ignore it?
No, it was just we just kind of go with it. It's a segment. So you only have so much time. And I was giggling the whole time. And he's like, you know what? You have the best laugh I ever heard. And I think he had asked if he could use it as his ringtone. And I gave him permission. I don't know if he still has it, but.
That would be amazing. He's great. I mean, is he as nice? I was going to say, is he as nice as he appears to be?
He is a darling. If I have ever referred to anyone, he's like, I showed up and it's in a studio in New York City. And literally the door is open on the sound stage and then there's an live audience, and then there's a live band, and then he's behind the piano singing and then stops singing. The band is still playing. I'm walking and they're leading me in. He gets up, walks over to me, hugs me, and then we roll into our segment a few minutes later. It was incredible. Amazing.
Yeah. How exciting. I'm sure you have like loads of stories like that. So
it's, since we've been doing the show since 2017 and we've traversed the country and there's all these amazing, unique little nooks and crannies that I got to visit, in addition to all these other shows that I got to piggyback and to promote the Man vs. Food. So yeah, it's been really special. And you almost forget until someone asks you. It's like, oh, right. I did that. It's like your body of work is it's like our emotions or our they're trapped in our body at work. It's like, oh, you forget, and then you move around.
Yeah.
And it's so he's a pretty special dude for sure. And
talented.
Well, I would say too, I mean, that, well, of course, you're a special dude, and I'm sure you've been told that before. Things like that don't happen by accident. You're welcome. And that also we do take for granted. It's like almost like, the super rich person who can go out and buy themselves a Bugatti, and it's all relative. They don't realize it. It's just to you a day in the life. Like, yeah, I was hanging with Harry Connick Jr. blank. And meanwhile, we're like, what? That's so cool.
And don't forget, not just Harry, it's the full name.
Harry Connick Jr. Yeah. And, it became part of the show. It's like you don't have time to even think, or react, or you're basically just reacting, I should say. Like you're just present, and it forces you to be present. And I've had a lot of, those moments, and it's like, it's actually a present, to be thrust into the present, because you're just fully in the moment. Right. So it's like, and you're just interacting, reacting, and all the experiences you've had, in life lead up to that moment. And then you can just be yourself, which is really powerful. So it's, in the beginning of doing the show, they're like, we want you to be yourself. I'm like, I don't even know who that is. I've been acting for all these years. Like, as somebody else,
true.
Let me dive deep.
Well,
to find it.
first spoken like a true yogi, it's a present to be present, which I love. It's true. And secondly, I agree with you. When I listen, we're on episode 29 and a half. I've never done anything like this. I have no training, and I just like to gab. And I go back even last week when I was watching our episode 29, I'm like, have to stop doing that. Have to, you're like picking yourself apart. And I'm a big fan of reality TV. I love watching the Kardashians and Vanderpump, and don't judge or make fun of me, but he's like, they're acting. I'm like, well, maybe they are, maybe they're not, but whatever they're doing, right? It's their reality. I mean, in the moment, whether they're acting or not, it's fun to watch.
I understand what he says, though. When they become present, when you're present, you're right there. And that's what with Harry Connick Jr. I make sure I say his own name.
Harry Connick Jr.
All right, so let's back up a little bit. We just have a couple minutes before the first break. Beep. Let's talk about your childhood. You have 2 minutes.
Back it up.
No
2 minutes.
no press. Sum it up.
Okay. Parents are both New Yorkers. They migrated to New Jersey. I was born and raised in New Jersey until my early 20s, where I moved to New York City. But I started working at a young age. I started washing dishes at 14 at a pizza place in the town that I grew up in. That's kind of where I cut my teeth in the restaurant business. My dad had taught me how to cook at like 10, and I was always fascinated with food. And by no mistake, I'm just a big husky guy. I just love food. And my humble beginnings with my parents as far as food, because the way they grew up is like you ate what you were given, and my father never had a bad meal. And there's something about that that's like I've taken that with me. So I worked in mostly the front of the house when I was younger. I moved into the kitchen. I had some vocational culinary, but then I started acting, and then quite literally my worlds collided at 40, cutting to many years later when I got Man vs. Food, where my restaurant work, kitchen, that world and acting came together, and I got the show traveling the country. Visiting restaurants all around, state to state, and elevating and celebrating their businesses, was I like to see the show, But yeah, that's a little bit of a childhood. But then, I still feel like a child, in a lot of ways. I kind of approach it with kids' eyes, like every state that I've been to, every city I've been to, with fresh eyes. I don't do a lot of research, and just kind of just show up and just be wowed by it all,
Of course.
Be present.
All right, I'm going to hit pause here because we are going to head into segment 2. In the next episode, we're going to talk more. In the next segment, we're going to talk more about Man vs. Food, because I have a lot of questions. So, Casey, a billion thanks. So, catch you guys on the flip side. Just a couple minutes. Don't go away on The Good Soul. This segment of The Good Soul is brought to you by Aaron Fisnick, certified luxury home specialist with Ivester Jackson Christie's International Real Estate. Aaron serves all levels of the greater Lake Norman region real estate market, and whether buying or selling, she is very much the lady who will deliver like no other. Many of us at Good Soul are also really happy clients. Aaron can be reached at 704-728-5657, or reach out to me and I'll get you guys connected. Thank you, Aaron Fisnick, and thank you guys for tuning in and supporting The Good Soul. Welcome back, everybody. This is The Good Soul. We're on episode 29.5. We carved out a special edition of The Good Soul because we needed to get more of you. Episode 29 was not. We could probably do 2,900 episodes, and it wouldn't be Husky for life. Husky for life.
We could just do 29 and a quarter, 29 and a half, 29 and 3/4. We could just keep going. I mean, you guys are
down. I'm totally down. So, all right. So, Little Silver, New Jersey.
Yeah.
You're a huge proponent. Anytime I see you on any show, I feel like you're constantly bringing up New Jersey and your childhood, the influences. I think it's fantastic. Yeah. You're such a great ambassador for our state.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, because that's kind of like I'm back here living here now, and that's kind of what I'm championing. I'm trying to focus my energy on local and small business and Jersey specific, just elevating, celebrating. I use those two words a lot because I feel like my takeaway from doing Man vs. Food has been just that. You know, in retrospect, looking back, it's like, oh, you know, these restaurants get people go to these restaurants even when the show, you know, every time the show airs, I should say. So it's like, you know, what can I do for the place that I live, taking the experiences that I have and like the notoriety from the show that I have, and do that where I live and where I grew up and in my home state, you know?
Yeah, it's great too, because just moving down to North Carolina, and all due respect to the people from the Jersey Shore, I'm not like knocking them at all, no. But a lot of people bring that up if you're in the South, like right away, that's all they know. And I always say there is so much more. First of all, they're from Staten Island, I believe. They don't even represent the people. And again, and that's fine. I'm not putting them down at all.
It's a different island. New Jersey is its own island.
It's a different universe, right? And to have somebody like you going out and talking about, it makes me proud. It really excites me. I was listening to, just recapping with, you were talking to somebody about like the different foods, like you were saying, like boardwalk food and pizza and like all the foods that represent us. So I just think it's really cool what you're doing.
Doing the show, you know, anytime there'd be a tomato or corn, I would say, oh, is this a Jersey tomato? And we could be the best. Oh, is this a Jersey corn? And the guy, like the producer's like, okay, can we, you know, like maybe not everything. And it was clearly not Jersey, and it wasn't, you know, Jersey tomato, but like, you know, I'm going to sneak it in there until they say no, you know?
Yeah.
Garden State.
That's really
Garden
cute.
State.
That's it. We're the Garden State, you know?
The Garden State, brother.
Yeah, and not the New Jersey Turnpike Industrial, right? Like that's what everybody sees.
What exit?
It's just a road. It's just a road. You know, it's a road to better places. It's a road to new horizons.
Every branch.
You know, Casey, what comes to mind too, well, you just brought up the producer and kind of tethered to what Manny said. So when you're on a show like Man vs. Food. So, all right, before I ask you this question, let's tell the viewers and listeners real quick, how did you end up on Man vs. Food for those who didn't see 29?
So it's, you know, to me, it's a bit inspiring just telling that story, because real quick, I got a call from a casting director. The casting director said, I know this is not what you necessarily a job that you would want, but like I encourage you to at least audition for it. And essentially it was $100. So a local hire, Los Angeles or anywhere local hire usually means $100 and you crash on your friend's couch. And that's exactly what it was. So that led to me
good old days.
Working on this really cool project that was for YouTube with these YouTube stars. That director and I became really friendly. She introduced me to an agent in New York City. That agent and I hit it off. Irish guy from Jersey. I brought a bottle of I'm not sure if I told the story last time, but brought a bottle of Jameson, and then I pitched him some stories. And then he got the audition. It came across his lap for what was to become Man vs. Food. They called it Big Eats. So,
Big Eats.
Yeah.
So it's this, like, I did this job that paid nothing, and I went and did it. And it was an amazing experience. I got to perform. I got to do these, you know, kind of push the boundaries for myself and be on like a real TV set, and which is exciting. And then it led to this whole other thing. So you never know. So I've always been of the opinion, you know, focus on the work, show up, say yes. You can always say no, say yes first. It's really yes ending your life, you know, like is what that's how I've gotten to where I've gotten, because there was a point where I was knowing myself a lot. I was saying no to things, and that's based in fear, right? It was all fear. And I think we start from that place sometimes, and it's like, wait, you have to look at that. You know, it's why am I saying no? You know, why aren't I saying yes? You know, what is it that's
keep your eyes open? Keep eyes open.
Have you ever read the book Gap versus the Gain?
No.
It's really fantastic. So the gap versus the gain concept talks about, and I feel like a lot of yogic kind of, the way you're talking is a lot of the language that we speak here at the studio. So this is why I'm bringing it up. The gap versus gain, you're either living in the gap and you are on a show named Man versus Food, and you're like, no, I want more. I want to be the next Ryan Seacrest. There's a great example for someone like you. And you're not going to be happy until you are Ryan Seacrest. So you're going to spend your whole life chasing, being a multi-billionaire like Ryan Seacrest, or you can just be happy living in the game. So you're living in a gap, meaning you're waiting and you're not satisfied, or you're living in a game. And so I'm trying to find my way. And it's a great book. I think everybody should read The Gap in the Game. But my question to you is kind of learning to distinguish between having specific goals or letting the universe kind of take over and let it. Did it go away? You're back?
And we're back.
For a second. Well, if I curse.
I heard something.
I said sugar.
Sugar and spice.
I know
Sugar and spice. Sugar and spice, the damn computer.
Shenanigans.
Sugar and spice.
Anyway, they complete me out. So anyway, so do you you don't know you want to do Man versus Food? How does this all work?
You're on his lap.
So, some people are lucky enough, and I guess it was just the attitude that I brought to the work, because I had a sports background, I had a martial arts background, I had there were highs and lows, when I was younger, dealing with just, childhood angst, parents divorce, growing pains, all these things like body image issues, and just, flux capacitating through life, the fluxes of life.
Capacitating, all right.
Very back to the, back to the future. Okay, Doc.
I've never said that before. That's a new word for me. And it's, it's like I brought this, life experience to Man versus Food, because as an actor, for me, I wasn't in a position to give up work where some people can pick and choose. I didn't pick and choose. I just chose, right? And if there was an opportunity presented itself, I said yes to everything for the most part, be it commercials, be it, because I did a lot of non-union work before I got into the union. And a lot of times you're encouraged to join the union right away. If you went to conservatory, I didn't go to conservatory. I studied privately and figured it out. I did stand-up, sketch, improv, theater. So I started off doing theater. And I just had this yes and approach to things, because it's just you're not going to get anywhere if you don't step forward. So I said yes to the audition, because if I said no to auditions, I wouldn't get another one. And that was my mentality. And that's kind of how, in the beginning, that's how they treat you. It's if you say no to this, I may never call you again, essentially,
So it's
waiting
at the door.
Leave all those doors open.
That's it. So, and it was, I never thought I'd be hosting a food show, let alone a food show that did so well. And when it was first out, that it would thrust me into the stratosphere and change my life. I mean, it's changed my life considerably, for the better in a lot of ways. And, it's different, because then it's now, because I've done a ton of scripted stuff, but I'm known for doing Man versus Food. And I've had to accept that. That's been my experience, and I have to lean into that. It was a point where I was I don't want to really lean into this outside of acting, but it was so big. It was bigger than me. And so for me to deny that, I think I deny people that maybe have enjoyed the show, who have enjoyed me on the show, or just what it represents, if I didn't. So I've been leaning into it way more than I ever have. And that that gives me entry to places and to people, and it just opens the door. I started to say no to myself. I'm wait a second, this is the thing I stopped doing a long time ago. Why am I saying no to this opportunity? Because it is bigger than me. If I can make someone laugh or smile, and a lot of kids watch the show, and that's who comes up to me oftentimes in the street or in the airport or wherever, in the supermarket. And it's why would I deny myself of this, just continuing this opportunity? Because that's exactly what it has been. It's just a big opportunity, that I could take through this, continue to take through the stratosphere to where it's landed. I mean,
that surfboard, man. Keep on riding.
Casey, did you see the show on Hulu called Brats by Andrew McCarthy yet?
No, I haven't watched it. I saw some news on it about, the folks that didn't want to be involved and all that jazz. And so,
well, that's why I'm not experienced in your field, but watching Andrew McCarthy, Ali Sheedy, Judd Nelson wasn't on it, Molly Ringwald wasn't on it, but the two careers, because the overall like basic message of the show was, or I should say the documentary was, they were kind of resentful towards the Brat Pack concept.
I mean,
except for what's his name liked it though. After
and the only two people that kind of embraced it,
Emilio Estevez.
No, he was in the middle. He was in the middle. Yeah.
There.
Was Rob Lowe and Demi Moore, who both went on to have extremely, yes,
Rob Lowe especially, you know.
Well, look at the careers they've developed.
Look at his skin. Look at that face.
Look at both of them. Well, her too, though.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. Yeah.
I mean, when
he looks 20 years old.
20 years old.
Still looks like a little kid. Yeah.
And not only that, to me, her home, her clothes, and not only that, but as somebody who clearly I see is doing the work and that the internal work that you're doing, that girl is she has done the work. Like, she can hold down a conversation. She is so self-aware. And to my point is, rather than rejecting it, you should have embraced it and not been like, I'm a serious, Juilliard trained actor. I'm not a brat, and that's kind of the attitude some of them took. They were very frustrated by it.
I think the door closes when you start saying, your door closes immediately when you say no. It cuts off all conversation, all possibility, and that's definitive. And you said no. So it's, I choose to say yes to the dress, so to speak, It's like, you never know. And that's just led me to so many other things that I never knew, because you can't anticipate what's going to happen, because then you're in this place of it's a lot more freeing to let go than to hold on to something that it's really not your decision whether or not, you were the Brat Pack, you were part of this pack. And, affectionately, I look at it as, that's my childhood, is watching them, is watching those actors perform. And they were inspiring to me. So there's a little bit of a chip, I feel, on that shoulder. And that's not my cross to bear, but that's kind of how it's like, oh, okay. And that's a lesson, it's like, I'm going to watch it. I haven't seen it, but, I think it's a lesson for all of us, it's just like,
I totally agree with you. Well, and how much of a role, again, this is like I'm going down this rabbit hole here, but how much of a role do we play in, like, do you have specific goals as somebody who like myself, who's very ambitious? Do you have, like, when you sit down to manifest, do you say, like, I would like to someday win an Emmy Award or anything like that?
It's not award driven. I want to just cover my mortgage,
Okay. Yeah, I get that. All right, wait, but we have to hit pause. We're a little bit over. So guys, just stay tuned. We're going to be back for segment 3. This is The Good Soul, man versus food versus the world. Mr. Casey Webb. We'll be right back. This segment of The Good Soul is brought to you by Aaron Fisnick, certified luxury home specialist with Ivester Jackson, Christie's International Real Estate. Aaron serves all levels of the greater Lake Norman area real estate market, and whether buying or selling, she is very much someone I want in my corner. Aaron prioritizes building strong client relationships based on trust and authenticity. Manny and I should know, having purchased our land through her. She can be reached at 704-728-5657 or reach out to me and I'll get you guys connected. Thank you, Aaron Fisnick, and thank you guys for tuning in and supporting The Good Soul. Oh, how we love that. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Good Soul. We're with Casey Webb on Man versus Food versus World. This is exciting, and it's such great free-flowing conversation. I love everything you have to say, and I have questions, but I do. Here's another thing I want to bring up to you that I love. The concept of the food TV shows is so brilliant to me, because if we have friends over, if we have family over, if there's kids, there's adults, all ages, shapes, size, colors, we all can get into a food show at some level, right? There's like very few people in the room that are be like, I don't want to watch Man versus Food, or I don't want, like, do you find that, like, what's the demographic?
Surprisingly, with the show, like, I had in the beginning, I had no idea, and I don't think anyone had any idea. Like, there weren't the numbers, there wasn't, because like they can see who's watching, essentially, right? They know who's watching based on the numbers, and they get an idea of like the age gap, or if it's a kids, is it adults. So one of the greatest compliments I got about the show is that parents reach out, and like the world we live in is DMs, right? I'm getting direct messages on social platforms and emails, and it was, parents saying that, like, what, we feel really great about, the Food Network generally, or food shows, because they're often safe and we could go in the kitchen and cook, and our kids can watch TV, and it's wholesome, it's fun, and it gets them excited about eating, and I've had parents that have had, issues with their kids eating, and then they watch these shows, and Man vs. Food specifically, and they get their kids eating different foods and getting excited about eating and even cooking. So, the demographic is all over the place. So it's little kids to grown adults, couples, chefs, bro-y guys, couples.
And you make it fun.
It's just, it runs the gamut. I've had a lot of people come up to me. And so to me, that's what really shines. It's like, who's actually, approaching me. And I'm glad they feel like they can do that, because like, I would hate for someone not to. And I've been out and about, and be it in Asbury Park here in Jersey or anywhere in the city. And like, oh, I saw you. I didn't want to bother you. I was like, oh, please, like anytime, come over. It's like anytime someone has time for me, I have time for them,
Yeah, that's I think it was Leonardo DiCaprio that used to say, like, don't be mad when they want your attention and your autograph. Be mad when they don't want your attention and your that's my mother.
Everything started to switch.
Yeah, my mother used to say that about boys flirting with you. Don't be mad when they flirt at you. Be mad when they stop flirting with you. Just kidding. I know that's not very politically correct.
No, it's true.
Anyway.
Well, I mean, that's from your experience. I mean, there's PC,
depending on who you're talking about.
Yes, your experience. So it's right like,
Yeah. Depends on who you talk to.
Sure.
Well, yeah. So, and then back to kind of what we were talking about before with the Kardashians, and this is kind of looking under the hood a little bit.
The Kardashians?
The Kardashians.
Like watching a car crash. No,
I'm with you,
I
Casey.
think they're great girls.
I mean, it's it's a wonder, is what it is. It's just this
it is.
whole
it's
thing,
They're fun to watch.
That's the thing. That's where reality TV. That's like the ceiling. Right, for reality,
that is,
that's it. Like it doesn't get bigger. I mean, that was an opportunity for networks. Like when actors were striking, they're like, we need more programming. Let's go talk to regular people. Let's go talk to people that have nothing else to do, but maybe talk on camera. So it's evolved to many things. It started. There wasn't reality TV. There was the news and then scripted programming.
And then along came it was the Real World and the Osbournes and like the Simple
Survivor
Life
series.
Yeah, Survivor series.
All of it.
Yeah, but so to that, I would ask though, are there moments when they and I'm sure you don't have to obviously tell us your
not telling you anything.
Are there moments where they say like, Casey, stop bringing up New Jersey corn, or like maybe you want to try, like, do they try a little bit to direct your personality?
So you definitely get notes, but it's not necessarily from the producer in the moment. Like we'll talk about stuff and talk things through, and like when we get what we need, we move on. And like, some of it is scripted where I have to know things to say, but it's in my own words. Like I need to talk about this food specifically with this chef. When we talk to people like in the restaurant, we're mining for sound bites. So like I present something to them and we want to hear it back from them, their response. So I'm not coaching, but I'm like throwing these alley-oops for them to say certain things. So it's a little bit, they don't necessarily know I'm coaching, but I'm coaching them to say things because we need certain sound bites to run to go from through the segment of the show. It's like where they're talking specifically about the food. So producers, like we talk about stuff. He's like, well, do it, maybe try it again this way. Maybe, oh, you forgot to say this. Like, oh, great. They're kind of there they're a director. The producer in a reality show format, at least in my experience, they're the director of the show. So they're guiding you through the segment because we have a kitchen beat, we have a restaurant beat. In the restaurant, dining room.
Meaning what?
Yeah, beat. Yeah.
What is
so a beat is part of like a segment. So like there's we're inside the kitchen. That's one beat. That's one part of the segment of the show. There's the there's the walk and talk where I introduce the restaurant in the beginning. Like, hey, we're at so and so restaurant here in so and so town, and then I'm in the kitchen with Johnny Chef, and then it's like those are beats within the segment. So it's like part of the segment is a beat. So yeah, there's some direction, but a lot of it's improvised, which is really fun. Like I get to do that. And that's where like the funny stuff comes in. The innuendo. It's like I grew up watching Warner Brothers cartoons, so like I love innuendo. Like in even very clean though, but it's like and just finding the funny. Because I'm mining for the funny at all times. Because because I'm, as a kid, just taking the bad stuff and putting some sugar on it, like that's been what I've been working on.
How do you calm? Because I'm sure when you go in, a lot of those people are very nervous. How do you calm the guests?
Conversation, which is great. So like the cameras will be rolling and like, I'm like, like I'll cue those guys and then I'll start talking. Everything's already on and they just kind of just start it. And then they realize like, wait a second, we're in this already. Like, yeah, we're just
good. That's smart.
Part of my job is to make them as comfortable as humanly possible, especially the kitchen and the chef, where they have to like, do what they do every day, but they have to, present it to the world, because I'm always looking at the camera. They may not be, because we're having a conversation. I'm always mugging to the camera because I'm bringing the audience in. And that's part of the gig is like, is I have that relationship, almost like it's like if it's like imaginary friend. That's how I look at it. Like, come along with me.
Yeah. If one of my favorite, I love autobiographies, and one of my favorites was Rob Lowe. And one thing he said was how, when you're famous, people come up to you and they know you. Like,
and they say the craziest things.
I'm sure that I can attest to, but I will say, and you want to act like you know them, but I love how you made that correlation with the camera and bringing the audience in. Yeah. Like, come on, guys, like kind of like, like they're over your shoulder. That's really a cool way.
Oftentimes people will say like, oh, I watch you every night. And I was like, that'd be weird if I said that to you, wouldn't it? And then they're like,
totally. All right. On that note, everybody just relax, calm down from that good laugh we just got. We're going to be back for segment 4 in The Good Soul with Casey Webb. We'll see you in a few. This segment of The Good Soul is brought to you by Aaron Fisnick, certified luxury home specialist with Ivester Jackson, Christie's International Real Estate. Erin's not only an amazing agent, but she's also an amazing friend to me with a diverse mix of happy Lake Norman clients, each with their very own unique circumstance and challenge. She's a one-of-a-kind boss lady who I endorse wholeheartedly. Erin can be reached at 704-728-5657 or reach out to me and I'll get you guys connected. Thank you, Aaron Fisnick, for adding your magic to all of your real estate transactions, and thank you guys for tuning into and supporting the show. We are eternally grateful. Mwah. Big kisses. Welcome back, everybody. This is The Good Soul. As my husband would say, hello, hello, hello. Episode 29 and a half. We're here with Casey Webb. We're talking about this incredibly adventurous and fun career that he's been experiencing. We're lucky enough to hear more. Man vs. Food was probably, I would say, your most notable, would you say? I mean, sure. Again, without trivializing anything else you've done, but it's led him to all these great places. I mean, you were just talking about Harry Connick Jr. and that show and that experience. I'm sure you have tons of those stories for us. What I do have is a question. My
dad used to say, I'm full of it. That's what
I'd like to tell you, my father used to say something along those lines, like, Patti, you should be a politician. You're a really nice, sweet BSer or something, he'd say along those lines, but in a good way, not in a bad way. Right. So here I am sitting in a chair having a podcast because of that, those lovely words. Anyway, when you went on to this,
they might feel like noogies, but they're nudges. It's like that's their way of
it's a nudgy.
It's not a noogie, but it's a nudge.
It's a nudge. Yeah, but yeah. So it's all about too the way we perceive and the way we receive things. If you want to treat them, put yourself in the victim role.
In your dad's language and my father's language, my dad was from the Bronx. He spoke like he was from the Bronx, and like he had this Bronx-ese, like this language that was, and like people do what they can, they say what they can with from that ability. And so it's not limiting, it's just what it is, and so you almost have to cut through the Michigas or the, because oftentimes it's hard to hear from people that are closest to us too, right? Where is the mining for the good, like hacking your happiness, whatever that means, all those things. It's so, dusting it off, but you were saying, I'm sorry.
Well, no, that's okay. I'm sure, I would say, I'm sure Raymond or like my dad is looking down, like, that's what I meant.
He's always around,
Oh yeah, I would say my dad's my bones. I say it all the time. This is like a really silly question, but are there any foods you don't like that you were like, dang it, I have to eat a whole sub with olives on it? Did you have any dietary restrictions when you did the show?
No.
None.
No.
Zero. Yeah.
I wanted to say,
Zero, no.
I'm lactose intolerant.
The hard part, definitely not. Thank God. The hard part was the nature of them being either huge or hot. Like that was the problem, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's like
It wasn't
6
what?
pounds of whatever, or you know, like a half a pound of the hottest thing you put in your mouth, you know, like lava, basically. So yeah, that was the hard part, not the food. The food was great. The first bite is always great. The 30, 40 bites after that.
Yeah. What is it on the 4th of July? They do the Nathan's, the hot dog challenge.
Yeah.
And I like, ugh, oh my God, watching it. Just watching them makes me gag the way they shove them down their
Joey
throat.
didn't do it this year.
Oh,
Joey Chestnut
really?
didn't do it this year.
He went off to do he did mystery meat or whatever it is. The
mystery meat.
Is that what it's called? What is it, a show?
He wound up signing a deal with a plant-based meat company that won't be mentioned, and he got let go. He got let go.
Oh, okay.
It's neither here nor there.
How can you go from
neither here nor there.
hot dogs?
I mean, you know, everything has a shelf life, Manny. You know, it's like everything age out eventually. It's like I don't want to eat 76 hot dogs. I know. I mean, he did it, but he won like however many years in a row.
Competitions, yeah.
You know, it's like you did it already. Move on. It's okay to do other things. You know, it's like don't hate me because I want to change my life. You know, it's like I'm out. I did a great job. Thanks. See you later. I did my best.
All right, here's a minor pivot, but this is kind of talking to what we were talking about at the break. We were talking about where the show is going and if it's going, and the jury is still out. Yeah. Somebody in your position, do you ever come up with concepts yourself and pitch it to your manager to pitch to a production company?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Like I said, we have like 3 different shows that we could produce tomorrow, you know? So it's whether or not it's like I said, the business has changed so much where it's where's the funding coming from, who's paying for it. Like we could finance a show tomorrow if we had the funding, you know, it's like, and like, you don't necessarily want to pay out of your own pocket. Like you have people invest in this thing. And that's what, from the beginning, in production, that's the first thing I heard. You don't want to use your own money. You know, it's somebody else's money so they can invest in it. And then, so, you know, it incentivizes the thing. So, there's a lot of opportunity. It's just, we're in a funny place. If you watch TV, there's a lot of shows that are guaranteed that are, you know, they're being greenlit or like they're similar to something else. Like there's not a lot of change in the marketplace when it comes to like food programming. A lot of it's similar. You have your competition shows, which, you know, chefs don't compete with each other in real life. They work together in a kitchen to produce the best quality food possible. So it's all for fun, right? TV is fun. And So we're ready to go. I'm ready to go to work tomorrow. It's just where it fits in their programming, you know? So Man vs. Food, it does really well. Again, I would love for these other shows to go just to kind of, again, do something different, bring something else to the table, so to speak. And, but if they call me tomorrow, we're going to do 30 episodes of Man vs. Food. I'm going to say yes. Yeah, I'm totally. Because you know why? Because it brings 20 some odd people, at least in the production team alone and producers and what have you, will go to work. We'll have jobs.
Yeah, employ people.
All the restaurants that we go to and all the people that it elevates and celebrates, you know? So yeah, I'm ready to go when they are.
That's awesome.
They're sitting on the bench. I'm not. I'm out doing my thing.
Yeah.
So when you're ready, I'm ready. You hear me?
You're still hustling. Yeah. Listen, you'll be the first to know when I make my first billion or even, I don't know, a few million. Right. So I once heard, this was probably a year ago. I think Matt Damon or Ben Affleck said they could have shot Good Will Hunting with an iPhone. Is that something like self-production? You have access to the universe right from your laptop sitting in your condo there. Is that something in that business that is considered?
Yeah,
doing it yourself?
I think in short format, I'm doing it every day, you know, like social, just, you know, and again, it's like, how do you want to spend your time? You really have to be organized because you're not only filming, you're editing, you're scheduling, you become a one-man or one-person band, and like figuring out how to tread those waters has been a big part of what I've been spending my time doing. It's like because like the word influencer made me want to gag when I first started hearing that, and it's like that's what I've become. That's part of my business. I don't necessarily consider myself an influencer, but that's what we're doing. And like I'm following almost the same format or the same rules as what influencers are doing, but I just happen to have been on TV and do this show. So when I was busy doing the TV show, other people were growing their audiences to huge numbers, and I'm playing catch up. So it's like there was an opportunity back then. I mean, I knew it. I saw it coming. I was just like, I'm super busy. I need to take it. I need to sleep, like you need to really, you need to be
but you
mindful.
can't sleep that long. You can't sleep that long.
It's a process, to go out and shoot something and then edit it. I mean, I've been shooting a lot more stuff and I've immersed myself in it. And it's been exciting because there's been a shift in my own perspective about what my business looks like and what that means. Because again, it's the bigger picture stuff. It's not about, it's the less emphasis I put on myself, the less stressful it is for me. And then I put that on somebody else, like the emphasis on somebody else. I like lighting people up. I like, bringing smile. I'm a performer, I like entertaining people. I like people. I like making people laugh. I like, and there's work that comes with that. So it's, like, how do I want to spend my days, where I want to put my time in. And I also need to recharge too, so it's an interesting balance. I'm not 16, live in my parents' basement making videos. I have real life things I got to take care of, bills and family, so it's been an adjustment, but like, I feel like I'm in that hustle right before I got Man vs. Food, because quite literally I had I had 2 national commercials all in the same year. And then I had,
that's right. Was it a Visa? Was it a Visa commercial? No,
there was a Mobile One commercial. And then there was
Mobile One.
That one, we did like 3 of those. So point being is that like,
and the oil.
Mobile One. So it was Kevin Harvick, who's
Mobile One. I'm sorry. Forget it. Yes, I'm sorry.
Like, what the oil? Yeah, it is the oil.
So there was like this. There was a lot of momentum and energy because I was auditioning a lot, and then I shaved my beard to do this one cop audition for Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I didn't get that job, but I got 6 jobs after that, and the 6th one was the 5th one was Man vs. Food. The 6th one was this commercial I wound up doing in Panama, like last minute. We flew to Panama, the country, and shot this commercial for this German real estate company. So like the momentum, I feel like I'm in that point. I'm in the same place again, but 7 whatever it is years later, it's like that. It's very familiar hustle territory, and I'm just grinding. And I just spent the last week
staying hungry.
Totally, I just spent the last week with Indie Street Film Festival, which is within its ninth year here in Red Bank, and that was really awesome. So I'm just I'm keeping myself busy and trying to cohabitate and within my community and build other people up as I'm trying to raise my my vibration, if you will.
Elevate and celebrate.
Elevate and celebrate. That's my thing. This has been a mantra. There's a list of them on a wall and a little cork board. There's just things that get me out of bed in the morning.
See them.
You private, Patti. It's my own private.
Listen, I'm always good for like other people's juice and fuel. Tell me a little bit about your hot sauce real quick, because we don't have a lot of time. We only have about a minute left.
So, doing the show, I've been able to meet farmers and chefs and just creatives and a farmer based out of Louisiana I became really friendly with, and I was having him send me hot peppers, and he sent me seeds because I was interested in doing a hot sauce, and I wanted to do something that was like universally appealing and palatable. So I went with cayenne, and it's a Martinsville cayenne based in Louisiana, but I grew them in Jersey. So it's Jersey style hot sauce is what I'm calling it. It's called Casey's Inferno. Casey's Inferno, or Casey Webb's Inferno, and it's essentially my crazy red hair. I've had it longer, and within
is the graphic done?
The graphic, all the artwork is done. Bottles are chosen. I literally am going to the farm today or tomorrow to check on like 700 cayenne pepper plants that are growing close by.
Are you going to document that?
Oh yeah, for sure. You will see a lot of that, drone footage, me with the peppers, me maybe eating them, me maybe hallucinating,
try 'em.
so spicy, foaming at the mouth, eating hot peppers. But yeah, so we're in the phase of like they're growing. I need to harvest, and then I make the hot sauce, and then bottle, and then bring it to market. So that's what I'm doing towards the end of 2024.
Okay.
Congratulations.
So on
buddy.
that note, Casey,
Thanks.
we have to wrap it up again. It always goes too fast.
that
I
way,
think we
man.
have to do these. This should be 2.25.
regular.
The next one should be 2.50,
Yeah.
right? So, you tell me.
Well, we'll work it
down.
out when either we're when you're down or
You gotta have
we're
them
up.
down.
We're definitely this relationship. We have to keep this going.
Yes, please.
And I want everybody to know that you can follow Casey on I Am Husky for Life on Instagram. Is that probably the most important place you'd like for people to find you? And from there,
Twitter or X is Casey's Call, and the same thing with YouTube, and TikTok is I Am Husky for Life as well. So yeah, if you look up Casey Webb social media, you'll find me.
Find Casey, and if you're bored and scrolling and your spouse is asleep or you're waiting in line at the bank, go on his socials. I love going on your Instagram. I just go on your page and just keep going and going.
If your spouse is asleep, that sounds scandalous.
Ooh. Casey's Inferno. Guys, thank you so much for showing up for the Good Soul episode 29.5. We are not done with you, Casey Webb. We love you, and we love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on the Good Soul. Bye.